Hello everyone and welcome to the weekend edition of the Pandemic Update video for Saturday, January 21st, 2023. Starting off with the COVID positives, we learned that the governor of Wyoming tested positive on Friday. He is 65 years old and, as you would expect, he's said to have mild symptoms and is said to be doing well, and he will isolate at home. We also learned earlier this week that David Crosby passed away. David Crosby did have coronavirus back on April 29th, 2022. He remained sick for a long period of time and eventually announced he had to retire. David Crosby was a member and a founding member of Crosby, Stills, Nash, and then Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. And unfortunately, his COVID turned into long COVID. Don't know what all of his long COVID symptoms were, but he did pass away on January 18th, just as of this past week at 81 years old. He was a legendary musician. He created so much music. I mean, Deja Vu, Teach Your Children Well, Sister Judy Eyes, the list just goes on and on. So very sad to have lost David Crosby this week. All right, moving on to the CDC community transmission map. And you'll notice here there is a change. Look in the northeastern states. Less high transmission, more moderate and substantial. And that does reflect on the national number. 61.3% of all counties are at high transmission. That's a drop of 13.69%. Substantial transmission is at 19.4%. That's an increase of 4.87%. Moderate is at 14.65%. That's an increase of 7.8%. And low transmission is at 4.66%. That's an increase of 0.93%. All right, CDC proportions here. Let's see if we can get it to load. It's been having problems here. If not, we'll just skip over it for today. Yep, looks like we will not have the varying proportions today. The CDC has failed us yet once again. Alright, moving on to hospitalizations. 36,374 people are in the hospital for coronavirus. Hospital capacity, percentage of beds being used. It's inching up again. It's getting closer to that 80% mark. That's 79.01%. 5.28% of all beds are being used for coronavirus. Taking a look here at New York State. 4,066 people tested positive on the most recent update, 6.7% positivity, 6.6% 7-day average. Taking a look at hospitalizations in New York State, they continue to fall. 3,260 people in the hospital with 354 people in the ICU. We'll see how far they keep dropping, and that's a good thing. All right, taking a look here at the Walgreens positivity map. Let's refresh this, shall we? You're going to see right off the bat there's some more red on the map. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's another wave coming. But at the same time, infections still do remain high in some areas. The biggest problem is, take a look at current week's testing. 31,130 people tested. Prior week, 42,656. Therefore, it's resulting in positivity to rise in some states because you have significantly less testing. The current week's positivity rate is 33.8%. Prior week, 35.2%. That's a difference of 1.4% down. I expect that to actually probably start rising soon unless testing picks back up again. Like, for example, take a look at Maine. Now, we're talking tiny bits of testing in some of these states. Like Maine, for example. 32.9% positivity this week. Was 25% last week. That's a difference of 7.9%, but you're only talking 10 less tests. You're only talking 70 people tested this week. Similar deal in Alaska, even less testing. 32.6% positivity rate. Prior week was 24.6%. So that's a difference of 8%. And California is actually seeing a significant drop in the positivity rate, but that's starting to reverse because there as well, as you can see, current week, 1,590 people tested. Prior week, 2,228. So we got California, Texas, same deal. Florida, same deal. Arkansas, same deal. So I'm expecting to see pretty soon we're going to start to see a flip in the positivity rate. Although with Arkansas here, it is really just plummeting. Let's zoom this in, actually. Look at that. It's going straight down. So it's going to take a lot for a state like Arkansas to flip. Probably similar deal with Iowa. It's going to take a lot for it to flip, but eventually it will. We see this happen after every wave. All right, deaths. Deaths are not good. Taking a look here back on the 15th, we had no deaths reported. Then you go back to the 16th, 20 reported. 629 were reported on the 17th. 1,098 reported on the 18th. 2,222 were reported on the 19th, and on the 20th, 86 were reported. So roughly 4,000 deaths were reported this week. We're already approaching 11,000 deaths this year. Not good. If we continue at this pace, easily going to be over 200,000 deaths in this country. And that's a huge understatement. That's just going to be reported deaths. You have a lot of deaths that do not get counted as COVID. Long COVID, just misdiagnosis, you name it. So excess deaths are going to be high as well. So again, those saying the pandemic's over, you're completely wrong. And there's actually more evidence of that. Let's look at something from Japan, shall we? As you can see here, with each wave, Japan's going higher with the hospitalizations and not bottoming as low. Higher with the hospitalizations, bottoming off higher. And this has just continued each time, with exceptions to 2021 when the vaccine came out. It really dropped low. But then, as we found out, the vaccine doesn't prevent transmission. Look what happened. Yeah, started going back up again. And now we're just on a endless roller coaster where it just keeps going higher, and it actually just hit a record high with hospitalizations in this past wave, over 40,000. So yeah, not good. And as we know, there will likely be another variant. It seems like every month somewhere in this world pops a variant, and we're getting about due for another one. XBB has been in the news for almost about a month now, and pretty soon there's going to be another one popping up. Alright, moving on to influenza. Influenza for the most part of the country is dropping. There are still a few high areas. New Mexico's one, but then look at the Northeast. New York State's now at low levels. The same cannot be said for New York City. New York City is at high levels. Look at Maryland, low levels, but then you come down to D.C., still at high levels. So there's still some pockets in the country where flu is still relatively active, and there are still flu deaths occurring. So we'll have to see what happens here. Though flu is dropping now, there could be a little second bump in the road as we head into February and March. And if you look at the past charts, that has happened before. Alrighty, thanks for watching this video, folks. Stay safe this weekend no matter what you're doing. And please remember to hit the like and subscribe button down below. It helps the channel grow, and it helps get our message out that the pandemic is not over. Take care. See everyone next time.